We're going to learn about adding and subtracting rational expressions with unlike denominators today. So I know I've got this when I can add and subtract rational expressions with unlike denominators. Here's how to do it. Find the LCD of the rational expressions. Rewrite each rational expression as an equivalent rational expression whose denominator is the least common found in step 1. Add or subtract the numerators and write the result over the common denominator, and then simplify or write the rational expression in simplest form. So the first step was to find the least common denominator. So out of 7a and 6a, the least common denominator would be 42a. This is how I think the easiest way to do this is. This is just me though. What do I need to multiply to 7a to get 42a? I need to multiply a 6, right? So if I multiply a 6 by the bottom, I have to multiply a 6 by the top. When I do that, I would get 90. What do I have to multiply to 6a to get 42a? 7. So I'd have to multiply a 7 by the numerator. So when I do that, I would get 56. If I add those two things together, I get 146 over 42a. Now, they can both be divided by 2. So when you do, you get 73 over 21a. And that is my final answer. So you got a common denominator. So 7a and 6a is 42a. What do I need to multiply to 7a to get 42a? 6. So I do that on top and bottom. That's how you do it. So this is a very basic rational expression. You'll see some more complicated ones in a little bit. Number 1b, 5 over 2x minus 6 minus 3 over 6 minus 2x. Now you can see that these denominators are opposites, kind of. So I'm going to change this around. If I change this sign, basically if I factor out a -1, watch, if I factor out a -1, I can make that 2x minus 6. Now, if I have a negative and a negative, I can change that to plus 3 over 2x minus 6. Now I have the same denominator, so I just add the numerator. But I can still factor that denominator, right? So I can say 8 over 2 times x minus 3. And then I would simplify the 8 and the 2, so I would end up with 4 over x minus 3. You try one. Okay, let's see how you did. So the least common denominator in all of this would be x plus 3 and x minus 3. So this is what I like to do. Okay, what do I have to multiply to this first denominator, x plus 3, to get my least common denominator? I would have to multiply the x minus 3, right? So I'm going to list the numerator, and I'm going to say times x minus 3. Then I'm going to write the second numerator, and then what do I have to multiply to x minus 3 to get all this? I would have to multiply the x plus 3. I like doing it like that. Now I just distribute and combine like terms. So 4x minus 12 plus 5x squared plus 15x over x plus 3 times x minus 3. Now I'm going to combine like terms and put it in standard form. So I get 5x squared plus 19x minus 12 over x plus 3, x minus 3. Now, can that be factored? They are not factoring it. Let's see so they're leaving it like this. Let's see if I did, let's check. Negative 12 times 5 is negative 60. Are there any factors that would give me 19? Well, we know 20 and 3. We know 15 and 4. So 15 and 4 would give me 19. The problem is this is a negative 60, and I would need both of those to be positive. So 5x squared plus 19x minus 12 is prime. So that is our final answer. All right, here's one more for you to try. Okay, I am going to change this first denominator. I want to change the order of it. I don't like it like that, because I want all my variables in standard form if possible. Okay, now I'm going to factor out a -1 from that denominator because it does not match the other one. Now it does. So the denominators are the same. I can actually make this 7 divided by a -1 is a -7, right, over m minus 6 plus 2 over m minus 6. So your final answer should have been -5 over m minus 6. Or you see how they're writing it? They're writing it with a +5 over 6 minus m, and that's all the same thing. That's fine. It's the same answer. 2a, now we're moving into bigger problems, okay? So the very first thing that we need to do is factor everything that we can. So I'm going to say m minus 5 over, let's factor this. So m times m, what would multiply together to give me 20 and add together to give me 9? A 5 and a 4. Okay, let's see. What would multiply? I would have an m and an m. What would multiply to give me 10? That would add together to give me 7. A 5 and a 2. All right, so looking at these, my common denominator, they have the m plus 5 in common, but there's also an m plus 4 and an m plus 2. Now, what do I need to multiply to m minus 5 to get the least? What do I have to multiply to this denominator to get this one? I'm missing the m plus 2, right? Okay, what do I need to multiply to 4m minus 1? So what am I missing from this denominator to get this one? The m plus 4. All right, so now I'm going to multiply everything together that I can. So I get m squared plus 2m minus 5m minus 10. So that's the first one, plus 4m squared plus 16m minus 1m minus 4. And that is all over m plus 5 times m plus 4 times m plus 2. This problem is getting very large. All right, let's combine like terms. I'm going to do it up at the top so I can have room. So look at your m squared. You have a m squared plus a 4m squared. So that would be 5m squared. Now let's just look at the m. So we have 2 minus 5 is -3. So 2 minus 5 is -3. Plus 16 is 13. Minus 1 is a positive 12m. -10 minus 4 is -14. And that is all over m plus 5 times m plus 4 times m plus 2. And that numerator is prime. So that in purple is our final answer. To be. Okay, so let's factor this. So we have 3 over y times y, 2 times 1, both signs would have to be negative, plus 5 over, that's a perfect square, so y plus 1, y minus 1. Right, they have a y minus 1 in common. They do not have a y minus 2 or a y plus 1 in common, so you have to write both of those. So what do I need to multiply to this denominator to get this one? I'm missing the y plus 1. What about from this denominator to this one? I am missing the y minus 2. So I'm going to distribute that out. So I get 3y plus 3 plus 5y minus 10 over y minus 1, y minus 2, y plus 1. Now let's combine like terms. I'm going to go up to the top so I have more room. Okay, so 3y plus 5y is 8y. 3 minus 10 is negative 7 over y minus 1, y minus 2, and y plus 1. And that cannot be factored or simplified, so that is my final answer. 2C, you get to do this one. You should have gotten x squared minus 5x plus 24 over x plus 4, x minus 4, and x plus 1. Please let me know if you need any help with those. I know I've got this one. I can add and subtract rational expressions with unlike denominators. So do you really understand? What are the first two steps in adding and subtracting rational expressions that have different denominators? Find the least common denominator of the rational expressions, then rewrite each rational expression as an equivalent rational expression whose denominator is the LCD. How would you use common denominators to rewrite the sum? Multiply the first rational expression by y minus 1 over y minus 1, and the second by 2y over 2y, and then you see the final results.